right there. We got to get to some breaking news, though. Snap out with its earnings results. You can see the stock, wow, look at that, off 18% after hours. Dan Howley, fill us in.
That's right. We had a miss on revenue. They came in with $1.13 billion. We were expecting $1.14 billion, although adjusted EPS came in at 8 cents. We were expecting a loss of 2 cents, so not bad there. They also beat on active users. They have 363 million versus an expectation of 358.7. Now, they also authorized a $500 million stock buyback. The bad news comes, though, because they're not giving us any guidance as to Q4. They say it's highly likely that year-over-year revenue growth will decelerate as we move through the fourth quarter, due in large part to the fact that the fourth quarter has historically been relatively more dependent on brand-oriented advertising revenue, which declined slightly on a year-over-year basis in the most recent quarter. So that's probably why we're seeing the stock down. It was around 20% at one point, but now we're looking at it down 17%. Big problems for Snap. They've been facing this downturn in their stock price. It was down 77% year to date as of today. And they're dealing with the same kind of advertising issues that Facebook is, Meta rather, and other social media companies, where they're seeing a pullback in advertising spending. Plus, they have to contend with that change that Apple made to its privacy settings in iOS. And so this is the result of that. We have to see, I guess, what we'll get out of the other social media companies as we see them report later next week. But you could see already Meta reacting to this to a degree, down 4%, Twitter off just slightly, and Pinterest down 7%, a little more. So, it remains to be seen how badly this will hit the likes of Meta, Pinterest, Twitter. But for Snap, a really not good look going forward.
Yeah, certainly reminiscent of what we've heard in previous quarters. Snap being the first to report. Snap citing this slower advertising spending as a huge headwind, and that, of course, playing out in some of the other larger tech players that have followed. So something that we, of course, will continue to watch. That slower growth number in terms of revenue, $1.13 billion, Dave, the slowest growth that we have seen here for the company. But they did add new users, daily active users, 363 million. Estimate out there was sort of 358.7 million. I think a lot of us have been trying to figure out what exactly the future looks like for Snap, given its size compared to a lot of its larger competitors out there, and the fact that the company simply hasn't been too innovative recently either, just in terms of trying to differentiate their business as well.
That is entirely what I was going to ask Dan Howley about. And, he mentioned the 77% year to date. They're down 85% in the last 12 months. Dan, the one thing we have heard in recent months is the Snap Plus subscription service. I'm not sure if you can evaluate how successful that has been, or what the talk is in terms of Shauna's point. What is the catalyst? What is the innovation in the pipeline? Have you heard about anything?
Yeah, I mean, look, they canceled their drone that they were supposed to be working on, trying to save cash there. They had laid off about 20% of its workforce. I don't think anything really is working too well for the company right now. They do have the subscription model that gets users access to certain different types of filters, early access to some features. But, as you said, it really doesn't feel as though we're seeing too much innovation coming out of Snap. But again, this also comes down to the advertising issues that we're seeing across the board. And we could continue to see going forward. So, advertising first company right here. They're trying to diversify with that subscription model. Don't know how many people are actually wanting to jump in and pay for Snap when there's other free services out there. And the 800-pound gorilla in the room that's still chomping at the heels of the likes of Meta is TikTok, and that's free. And you don't have to sign up to get any special filters or anything. So, it doesn't look very good for Snap. Younger users are flocking to TikTok, still using Instagram, Meta's Facebook. I mean, that's basically the rearview mirror right now as far as younger users. So Snap, it's kind of in the middle there. So how it kind of moves forward and how we start to see it potentially turn around, I think just comes down to when we start to see that turnaround in the advertising market.
Yeah, the high school kids really use Snap as a texting service. As the dad of 2 high school kids, 1 million users, Snap Plus as of August. So not a huge revenue generator there. Dan Howley, good stuff. Appreciate that. Yeah, not a whole lot of catalyst ahead, it looks like, Shauna, for Snap.
Certainly not.
And everyone has a TikTok problem. Everyone has an ad environment problem. and especially if we go into a recession.
Yeah, and you also think that you would have to think that this is indicative of maybe of what we'll see from some of those larger players out there. We saw Meta sliding on the news, Pinterest off just over 5%. So be interesting sector to watch here in the weeks ahead.